Kulila, nice to see you online.
Hare Krishna, Shiva Govinda. I made it finally.
Okay, let's take this medicine of Srimad Bhagavatam that gives us the ability to distinguish reality from illusion and to understand actually what's important in life. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirannasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Shena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Hamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We studied the fundamental principles of material nature, the different functions of this body, and how different demigods rule over different functions and different organs, and how mindful we get to be about this body. It's not just, we cannot take it for granted. One of these functions goes wrong, goes off, we fall apart. So all the deities cooperate under the guidance, under the instruction of Krishna to make this body functional. So this is an opportunity for us to look at our body from a different perspective, not like how usually women do. Oh, I don't like my hair, I don't like my skin, I don't like my nose, I don't like my this and that. But instead, to see how every part of the body is actually so much work, so much connection with the divine, and how this body is a temple. And we must take care of it so and we can serve Krishna with it. Otherwise, everything else, everything about the material body is meaningless and useless. It's a reminder. It's a nice reminder. All right, so we stopped at this was done. River gods. We stopped at here. Then appeared an abdomen, followed by hunger and thirst. And in their wake came Samudra, the ocean deity. A heart then appeared along with the mind and its presiding deity, Chandra, god of the moon. Intelligence next appeared with the deity Brahma. Then came false ego, followed by Shiva. And after this appeared consciousness, along with Lord Vasudeva. The heart is the seat of these last four manifestations. The heart is the seat of these last four manifestations. What are the last four? The heart, along with the mind presiding the deity Chandra. Intelligence appeared with the deity Brahma. False ego by Shiva. And consciousness along with Lord Vasudeva. So these are the principal four manifestations. The heart is the seat. So among these four, the heart Chandra. So mind, we call it manobala, mental strength, emotional stability, very, very important, right? So that's Chandra, moon. Even in Vedic astrology, where you first check the capacity of a man or a woman or a child, We're looking at the moon's position. In Vedic astrology, the position of moon is way more important than the position of sun. In other astrological systems, like Western astrology, sun is considered more important, means the external life, etc. But moon represents your inner world. It's your mind, manas. And as Arjuna tells Krishna, oh, Krishna, it's more difficult to control my mind than to control the wind. Yeah, I mean, this is literally Chandra. This is the same personality we see in Vedic astrology. Moon, position of moon. Also, position of moon represents our relationship with the mother. Depending on our relationship with the mother, we can understand how good or bad our moon is situated. If we have good mothers like that, we usually develop a strong sense of mental strength and emotional stability. Okay. When the cosmic being initially appeared, he was asleep. Would one of you like to take over or read this next section?
I can. One at a time, each god entered his respective department and tried to rouse him. First, Agni entered his mouth along with speech, then Vayu entered his nostril with the sense of smell. After this, the sun god entered his eyes along with sight, and then the Devatas entered his ears with the sense of hearing. The deities presiding over herbs entered his skin with the hair and the sense of touch. Varuna entered his gonads along with the power of procreation. Then death entered his anus with the organ of defecation, after which Indra entered his hands with grasping power. Vishnu entered his feet with movement, and the rivers entered the Virat Purusha's veins with blood and the power of circulation. The ocean entered his abdomen with hunger and thirst, and then Chandra entered his heart with the mind. Brahma and Shiva also entered the...
One thing is, there is a macrocosm and then the microcosm. The macrocosm is the Virat Rupa, and the microcosm is our own body. So it's a reflection. Please continue.
The heart, along with intelligence and ego. However, the cosmic being remained asleep throughout. Only when Lord Vasudev, the soul of all souls, along with consciousness, entered his heart, did he come to life and rise from the causal waters. Mother, there is a practical lesson we can learn from Sankya's philosophy's explanation of the creation. Just as the cosmic being could not be aroused without Krishna's help, similarly the individual living being cannot awaken without his assistance. Do you mean from sleep or from their forgetfulness of their real spiritual nature? Both these types of waking depend on Krishna's mercy, replied Kapila. Devahuti looked out across the simmering waters of the Bindu Sarovar. She longed to wake up from her conditioned existence, which had become a source of pain. How could she petition Krishna's grace? Kapila said, Mother, you must hear about, glorify, and remember Krishna with focused determination. By doing so, you will develop an attraction for him, become materially detached, and cultivate advanced spiritual knowledge. These three qualities will enable you to always meditate on the Lord, who is simultaneously in your heart and outside of you, and thereby attract his full mercy. It was noon, and Devahuti was tiring. She asked her son if she could adjourn for a while, and he agreed. I will take my midday bath and chant my prayers, he said. Please rest and refresh yourself, and I will return shortly. I suggest we resume in the palace out of the afternoon sun.
That's very sweet. It gives us a vision, right? How it was happening. I mean, Devahuti must have felt tired also with all the information. These are very heavy kind of informations, right? It's like a lot to digest. Please continue.
After Kapila had left, Devahuti told the girls to gather everything up. Let us go back at once and prepare for your son's return, my son's return. Once back in Kardima's opulent mansion, she instructed her maidservants to prepare an elevated seat for Kapila and a lower seat for herself. As the Gandharva girls prepared to receive Kapila, Devahuti ate a light lunch with Medha, Kashmaha, and Rangini. After lunch, they discussed the morning's conversation. While a couple of maidens gently massaged her shoulders and legs, Devahuti said, "Did you all understand what the Lord said?" Shema replied, "I had some confusions." Devahuti encouraged Shema to express her doubts. "Well, mistress," Lord Kapila said the material world was Krishna's pastime. This baffled me. I thought he had no interest in this world. "Oh, such a nice question," said Devahuti. "My husband once told me that Krishna has no attraction to material sense enjoyment. Krishna's pastime is to bring us home to him by rectifying us of the tendency to enjoy separately from him." Rangini frowned. "Now I am even more confused. Krishna sends us to this world to suffer, so we can then return to him?" "I think I understand," said Shema. "As we discussed this morning, we want to enjoy separately from God, but he is the only true enjoyer and Purusha. Isn't that what you were saying earlier, Medha?" Maida nodded. "Yes, we are imitating him as enjoyers. We want to take his place, so he gives us this world." Kardama called it a prison house, said Devahuti. "The government would rather not build prisons. They would prefer everyone to live peacefully together, but there are always criminals ready to exploit and harm others, and thus there are jails." Rangini looked downcast. "How can we change?" Devahuti said, "Kapila is advocating the process of bhakti yoga, or hearing about Krishna, discussing his glories, and remembering him in the association of pure devotees." Rangini, Medha, and Shema slowly nodded their heads. It was becoming clearer to them. Then Shema asked another question. "The Lord also said that we are not the doers, that we are impelled to act by the modes of nature. So why do we suffer karmic consequences?" Medha replied, "It's true, the modes of nature are doing everything, but we are responsible for what happens because it is our desire that instigates activities." Should I continue, or someone else wants to read?
Let's pause there for a second. This is very important point. This one. It's true that the modes are doing everything, but we are responsible for what happens because it's our desire that instigates activities. So we often say, it's karma, right? Yeah, but whose karma? It's not the demigods were just sitting there doing nothing and they said, "Hey, look at that jiva walking there. Let's put some karma on them." Or like, it's not like planets were thinking, "Oh, which person should we go and become malefic to and cause problem?" it's our karma, which means it's our actions, right? Our actions caused us a specific type of mind, specific type of desires. So one of the greatest indicators of good karma is a satisfied mind. So when somebody is satisfied, doesn't matter if they're super poor, they're ugly, doesn't matter. But actually, when they have a satisfied mind, that's the heart, as it says, previously we read. The heart of the four is the mind. The mind is the most important for a man, for a woman, for a human being. If the mind is peaceful, if we are well situated and we are able to be satisfied in our position, we our desires can be worked on. Otherwise, there's no end, more and more and more and more, and never no satisfaction. Rich people, they're not satisfied. They want more and more, and they're always in anxiety. I have actually personally witnessed. I have a couple of assistants. This person is quite poor, only one earning member, and there are 10 people he has to feed, and they don't even have a concrete roof. They just have a sheet house, so which basically means it's scorching hot in summer and super freezing cold in winters, and during rain you hear horrible sound on the roof, and it's not even a big house for 10 people. They all kind of sleep together. It's a small little place. they just use like a curtain for a teenage girl to dress up, like, really poor. But I've seen this man's mind, satisfied. He's a Muslim guy. He's not even a Hare Krishna or a Hindu guy. He's a Muslim guy, and he's very satisfied. Mind, you can see him working, dealing with other people, how he deals with insults of others, how he deals with competition. He had some opportunities to like take more money than like, which was not really let's say super legal or something, and he was like, I don't need that. And I was like, oh my God, then who needs it? In the sense, like, we can see clearly that they need money. His bike is falling apart, and for a long time he couldn't even change the tires of his bicycle because he didn't have the money. He had to get his daughter married, but somehow the mind is satisfied. He doesn't want, he wants to walk on the path of Dharma, and nothing can disturb him. And he had that. And then my husband was saying, see, this is a good karma. Having a good mind, that's good karma. So like that, I have seen people with very, very poor having good minds, whereas the opposite is not true. Somebody has a lot of money, but they don't have a good mind. And so they're always disturbed and always anxious and always thinking, I need more, no faith, no faith in the Lord. I have witnessed that personally. And then this other point here. Yeah, this point, Prabhupada says again and again, envy, right? We have some envy towards Krishna. We want to take his place, right? We want to enjoy, like, we want to become the Purusha. But there's only one Purusha, that's Krishna. We are all Prakriti. We are all actually Jivet Swarupa Krishna Nityadas. We're all servants, eternal servants of Krishna. And the servant, not in the mundane way of when we look at some servants, how slaves are, not like that. We're children of God. Okay, we are all children of God. Yet we became like rebellious and we left home and we just want to find our own thing. We want to enjoy the controllership, and so we want to take his place, basically, right? And we want to imitate Krishna as an enjoyer. So Krishna says, oh, really? Okay, here you go, this material world, learn your lesson, and then be realized. In the process, help others also. As I say often, we put among other people like we don't get along. We want to get cured. Then we are put around more sick people. So like sandpaper, we rub, how do you call it? We collide with each other, and it hurts. But that hurt makes us purified. That hurt makes us realize what's important. And that hurts makes us realize who is in charge, really, Krishna, not us, right? Then we turn to Krishna. So that's another point that I wanted to bring up. Any other points that you want to highlight? Any of you want to comment something, question or comment?
I was just thinking about this point about the mind, that if it's good karma that we have a satisfied mind, how much do we bother actually putting work into, changing our state of mind when we become devotees? Or if it's karmic thing, how much can we actually change that? Do you know what I mean?
So your question is, if we are too sattvic and our mind is peaceful, how do we make advancement? Is that your question, kind of?
No, more the opposite, that if it's a karmic thing that one can have a satisfied mind, if we karmically don't have that we don't have that karma, how much do we bother, trying to work on making our mind peaceful?
Good question. How did you create that mind that you have? You created it, first of all. You created with the desires, with the actions, with the thoughts, and nothing is etched in stone. Karma is dynamic. Karma is never stagnant. It's constantly changing. We create today from yesterday's actions, and we create tomorrow's results by today's actions and today's desires. So it's also called like samskara, and it's also called sankalpa. In fact, Krishna, he has sankalpa shakti. Like in Vrindavan, if he determines that I want to lift Govardhan, he can just lift it just by his strength of will, Sankalpa Shakti. So for us, it is about what desires we will cultivate further. But usually what happens when we have a lot of passion, we keep investing that passion more and more into that direction, more passion, more entanglements, more risks, and this and that. So we create a tomorrow again with anxiety. So it's a free will. I mean, especially in Kali Yuga, the bad and the good is immediately experienced. Unlike in other yugas, people had to wait for next lifetime to experience the karma. But in this Kali Yuga, immediately, if somebody does bad, like yesterday or last month, to try to steal something, today already they are suffering. And somebody tried to harm some other person's child. I know one person who tried to harm one devotee, some political stuff manager. He had some child, and they tried to harm the child with so many black magic and curses and this and that. And that child got so many surgeries, and she had so much problem, the daughter of this devotee. And these people were trying to do that just to punish this manager so that he'll quit, so that they can have control, right? Then in just in few months, the guy who did it, the devotee who did it, came back running and fell at the feet of this devotee and confessed that what he has been doing. And then the devotee asked, what happened? Why did you have a change of heart? Why are you coming and telling me everything that you did? He said, because my son is very sick and we are not able to find any cure. And then I realized that it's karma. So Kali Yuga, my grandmother also often says, in Kali Yuga, immediately you will get the result of the bad. We don't have to wait for next lifetime. Like that. So the same thing for mind. In Kali Yuga, even demigods want to come and take part in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, because there are many advantages of Kali Yuga. One of the great advantages of Kali Yuga is just by thinking, like if I'm thinking I want to build a temple, I want to feed millions of people, I want to educate all the people who are uneducated, I want to empower women to be more faithful to Krishna and become more strong in their character and their life, whatever. Okay, if I think of just it, you get immediately the benefit. But if you think bad about somebody, or you want to harm somebody, in Kali Yuga, you don't get the result of it. You have to act on it to get the result. So this is the advantage of Kali Yuga. So if you invest, I want to have a strong mind, you pray to Krishna, you do certain things. I mean, biggest thing is chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because that mantra means the controlling of the mind. So by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we create better karma for the mind. I mean, we all have that experience, right? When we chant in the morning, and we chant good rounds, the rest of the day goes well, even if circumstances are difficult, even if the challenges thrown at us are very difficult, because the mind is under control. The mind has been engaged in chanting. It becomes easy for us to deal with the day, right? We have experience. So it's an investment. I was telling my friend yesterday, with whatever little sanity and strength we have, we should invest it in the direction of creating a better mind set for ourselves. Not the opposite, we take it and ruin more, but we actually take a little bit of sattva guna we have and invest in more sattvic activities, hanging out with people who are more sattvic, studying scriptures which are more sattvic. But usually that happens only if we cultivate that. Like Mahatma Prabhu often, he also said, like for example, if you see somebody successful, then you look at them, and if you feel, wow, they're so nice, they're successful, they're selling so many books, then you also will attract that energy of being able to sell books. But if you look at somebody and say, oh, they're so popular, everybody likes their books, they're selling a lot, and then you feel jealous about it, you're blocking that energy. So I like that, and Mahatma Prabhu told me that it helped me change my focus, my mind more towards being happy for successes that I also want in life, and not to feel jealous. But it's a cultivation, it's a practice, it's a habit we need to work on, so that when difficulties come, what do we cling to? Check look at yourself. Like I had a time when difficulty came, I needed to call my friends, I needed people to rely on, lean on. And then there was another phase of my life when difficulties came, I just wanted to escape, I just wanted to watch, I don't know, a movie or something to keep my mind out. Like that, there are different stages of life, right? So we can look at ourselves now and see, what am I clinging to? So if the clinging, you're happy with it, then we're in the right direction. And if we are not, then there's something we need to do to change that practice, so the mind can go in the direction of nourishment and not in the direction of disintegration. So this is very important questions, this is why we have our Vaishnavi Sanghas, we have Krishna connection groups, we have all this training, so that we can all, each of us, share our perspective on how to control that mind and how to channel that energy. Yeah, this is important. Don't try to punish the mind. Just think of channeling, because passion is also energy, right? It's easier for somebody who's full of passion to engage them and make it sattvic, and it's easier than somebody who has no energy, is sitting there too tamasik. How you give passion to somebody who doesn't have it? So passion is a good thing. It's just about channeling our mind's energy in the direction of bringing it peace. Even Krishna says in the Gita, without peace there cannot be happiness. There's no possibility. So working on the peace of mind is especially for women. Satisfaction is one of the biggest qualities. If a woman is not satisfied, the whole family can be in jeopardy. Yeah, thank you. These are very important questions. These are some things to think about, to introspect, to reflect and look at ourselves closely and see where we are and what we can do in order to bring up our mind, our consciousness in the right direction.
Well, thank you for your amazing answer.
So we'll stop here today. It's 5:30. We'll get going. And thank you, Rajeshwari, Radhika, for joining us today.
It was really wonderful points you mentioned in the last. It's really, I was just thinking that after hearing from Kapila Muni, they were discussing among themselves the same way, you did for us. And it was really nice actually to keep these small things to uplift our consciousness. It's really important.
So,
thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh my God, that was a nice thought. How women are discussing amongst themselves. Hey, I got confused about this. And then we are like, how does this mind thing work? What do we have to do? Should I just accept it as karma, or should I have to do something? It's like we are churning it, right? We're churning the messages of Kapila. So beautifully put. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So see you tomorrow. And today also evening, we have a presentation by Rukmini Devi about Akrura's meditation. She's a very good speaker. She does a lot of preaching with Africans there. So she's, a lot of wisdom. If you're able to join, I welcome you. Okay. So take care and see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, one more request is there. Yesterday you mentioned about Udupi Krishna. You can speak a bit about Guru Ayur Krishna.
Sure. Yeah, I would like to. It's a complicated, it's a long story. I can't just finish it in 1 minute answer. Yesterday, so I read your question, but I didn't explain it. But we can have a day of different deities we talk about, and one day we can take Guru and speak about him.
Sure. Thank you